I'll begin by telling you a little bit about my own book. It's called Mathematics for Human Flourishing. It's a book that came out last year. It's a book for the general public and not just a book for math teachers or math educators or those interested in math. In fact, in many ways, it's a book written for those who have been discouraged deeply by mathematics. I like often to say that it's a book that's not really about math as much as it is a book about what it means to be a human being. And so it's different from a lot of books about math in that it sort of steps back and asks bigger questions, deeper questions about mathematics beyond what math is good for. And so my goal in writing this book was not so much to elevate math by saying how wonderful it is or how useful it is, but to elevate some of the big questions, like what does it mean to be a human being? And how does math add to that? And of course, big questions often border on questions of faith. And although this book is written for a wide audience, if you are a person of faith, you'll find resonance with many of its themes because deeply human questions, I believe, are often deeply spiritual questions. And so one of the big questions that I tackle in this book is I should say a little bit about how the book came about. I gave a speech at a math conference in 2017 about by the same title, Mathematics for Human Flourishing. And the basic message of the talk was that math actually meets basic human desires and it builds virtues that serve you well no matter what you do. And the talk was well received, and so that led to basically me thinking about having an opportunity to write a longer explanation of how it is that I see that math actually meets many basic human desires, not just the 5 that are listed here, and explore a bit about what we mean by what I could possibly mean by virtue. And so the big question that the book really tackles is why should we do mathematics? One of the quotes that sort of runs throughout the book is this quote by Simone Weil: "Every being cries out silently to be read differently." And that's I see that as a very apt description for many people's experiences in math have been harmful and discouraging in some sense. And so the book basically ties itself to 3 stories. Three figures appear several times throughout the book. One is that of Simone Weil, who herself, she's known as a French religious mystic, a philosopher, but she was actually also the younger sister of a very famous mathematician, André Weil, who is one of history's most famous number theorists. And Simone often felt inferior compared to her brother's abilities in math. She loved math. She participated in math. She went to meetings with her brother around mathematics. Actually participated often in this group called Bourbaki, who is known to many mathematicians as a group of a very influential group of French mathematicians in the mid 1900s. And she felt small compared to her brother. And part of the question I ask in the book is what would her relationship be like to mathematics if she weren't always comparing herself? And of course, part of the progress that you see throughout the book is, by the end of the book, you see that she actually realized that there's actually value in the struggle that she experienced in mathematics, and that all of us, in fact, it's a very normal part of mathematics to struggle in doing mathematics. The second story that is a big theme throughout the book is that of Christopher Jackson. He's an incarcerated man who wrote me out of the blue many years ago, and we've had a long and rich correspondence around mathematics and his desire to learn mathematics. One of the big questions I ask about him in the book is, why is is Christopher, who's in prison until for a 32-year sentence. Why is he studying calculus that he'll most likely never use? Right? Why is he poring over math textbooks? And he's been generous enough to contribute to the book. He's getting a portion of the royalties. He's got a byline on the book because you'll find his letters sprinkled throughout the book that really sort of highlight the points that I'm making about why it is we do mathematics. I mean, it can't just be that you do math only to get a good job or to get a good career. The third story that, of course, runs throughout the book is my own story. And people often think if you're a mathematician, your experiences of math must always have been, good ones. But I share my own story of discouragement, how professors in grad school didn't think that I was cut out to be a mathematician, and how often we pigeonhole people in thinking this person's a math person and this person's not a math person. We make judgments about people, and yet every being cries out silent to be read differently. So this is part of my own struggle, and maybe strongly influence the way I think about mathematics, is that math is something that everybody can do, and everybody has an opportunity, should have an opportunity to experience in its best forms. And yet math is often used in ways that are really hurtful and harmful and discouraging to people. And so that's another story that sort of winds its way throughout the book. So this is this is the big question then. Why do we do mathematics? And my motivation here was to step back and ask what are the big reasons, right? Is math just something you do for a good career, or is math just for the elite? And of course, all of us have asked this question: when will I ever use this? I mean, many kids ask this question when they get to high school math, and maybe that's the first time you're learning stuff you may never use, right? I mean, how many people actually use calculus in their daily lives? Very few people. Yes, if you go into STEM, you're going to use it, but when will I ever use this? And so, really, the book tries to make this point that math actually exists to help people flourish, and math in pursuing mathematics builds virtues that serve you well no matter what you do in life, and no matter where your life takes you, whether or not you go into a mathematical career or not. And I think about virtue as certain excellence of character that leads to excellence of conduct. Maybe a little broader notion than Aristotle had potentially. But virtues are things like persistence, curiosity, clear thinking, right? And these are the kinds of things that serve you well, help you live life well, even in challenging circumstances. And so each of the chapters of the book is centered around a basic human desire that all of us have. And so this is maybe the part where I try to show that because all of us share basic human longings, for meaning, for exploration, for play, for beauty, for truth, for power, for justice, for freedom. These are all basic human desires all of us have. I know some of you are looking at the one on struggle and saying, wait a minute, do we all desire to struggle? And here, of course, I mean struggle in its best sense, that is struggling to grow. And all of us have these basic human longings. This is part of what makes us human. And so what the chapters do is explain how it is that math can meet these desires, and how in meeting these desires it can build certain virtues, right? If you are struggling to find meaning, you actually build in, through mathematics, you learn how to tell stories, you learn how to think abstractly. If you are pursuing math for its playful aspects, you learn hopefulness in believing that a problem can be solved. You learn curiosity, you learn how to concentration. And in pursuing community in mathematics, for instance, we learn hospitality and welcoming new people to mathematics. We learn what it means. We develop the virtue of excellence and mentoring in dispositions to affirm others. So this is really the basic idea behind the book. And so one of the things that I guess I hope out of this happens as a result of people reading the book is that they would begin to see themselves in mathematics. And of course, I take some opportunities throughout the book to try to tie some of these deep human desires to the deep spiritual longings that all of us have. And so one of them, in the chapters on beauty, for instance, I thought I'd finish my discussion by reading a section of the book that's the chapter about beauty and how it is that we pursue it in mathematics. And so this is a part where I'm sort of explaining what beauty is and how different levels of beauty. And here's one section. The deepest experience of mathematical beauty is to be found in transcendent beauty. It can amplify or be amplified by sensory, wondrous, or insightful beauty, but it goes well beyond. Transcendent beauty generally arises when one moves from the beauty of a specific object, idea, or reasoning to a greater truth of some kind, perhaps an insight that reveals its deep significance or deep connection to other known ideas. When you experience this kind of beauty, you feel a profound awe and even a sense of gratefulness. The transcendent beauty we find in the world provokes the feeling that there's something beyond our grasp waiting to be found that may be of ultimate meaning. C.S. Lewis spoke of the sublime experiences of beauty as, quote, the scent of a flower we have not found, the echo of a tune we have not heard, news from a country we have not visited, end quote. And in a similar way, mathematics can feel transcendent. When you see the same beautiful idea pop up everywhere, you begin to think that it is pointing to some deeper truth that you have not yet grasped. When you realize that you've had exactly the same mathematical thoughts as another person, separated from you by oceans, culture, and time, you begin to believe that there might be a universal, enduring reality that you are somehow both accessing. There are whispers calling us, but we have not yet found their source. And pursuing beauty of any kind cultivates in us the virtues of reflection, joyful gratitude, and transcendent awe. When I took a 5-day hike through the high Sierras, I had the opportunity and time to experience the beauty of the wilderness. Crunching through an icy meadow in the middle of July, witnessing its shimmering splendor and reflecting on the fact that I might have been walking where no one had walked before, I felt a sense of gratitude and awe. And the pursuit of mathematical beauty offers some unique ways to cultivate these virtues while motivating mathematical explorers to study mathematics. And as with my hike in the Sierras, chasing after mathematical beauty may lead you to wonderful spaces no eye has yet beheld, allowing you to experience a profound idea in a totally new way. And taking time to reflect on beauty makes us better equipped to learn math and process new information. And in this digital age, when we are bombarded with notifications and other distractions, we need space for reflection more than ever. Well, anyways, that's a little glimpse into my book, and happy to chat more about it later.